You've been told that manifesting your dream life is difficult, that it takes complex rituals, ceaseless visualizations, exactly worded assertions, and a continuous grind to raise your vibration. But what if I told you that quantum manifestation is actually remarkably straightforward? So straightforward, in fact, that nearly no one does it properly. You are living inside a quantum field right now, a field that is limitless in potential, a field that responds not to your exertion but to your harmony. And yet, most people approach manifestation like it's a battle. They try to overwhelm their current reality with will. They recite assertions they don't trust, imagine outcomes they quietly question, and compel themselves to think optimistic while their physique is still trapped in anxiety, shortage, and tension. And this is where the whole framework fails, because in the quantum world, coercion is resistance. Let's reduce this down to something elegantly straightforward. Quantum manifestation is not about obtaining what you desire. It's about collapsing the variant of reality where you already have it. It's not about changing the outside world first. It's about incarnating the inner message that draws that world towards you. The quantum field holds every possibility: victory and defeat, plenty and absence, love and loneliness, health and struggle. All of it already exists as waves of probability. But here's the kicker: the wave doesn't collapse into your lived reality until it meets a harmonious witness. That's you, your focus, your attention, your emotion. They are the sculptors of reality. But most people are caught in a loop. They're observing from anxiety. They're focusing on what's missing. They're vibrating in the frequency of absence while trying to pull in plenty. And in the language of the quantum, this is noise, not message. You've been taught to chase what you desire. But the real art of manifestation is to become the version of you that no longer needs to chase. It's the version of you that remembers, I am already entangled with the life I desire. The field is waiting for my message. My job is not to push harder, it's to become clearer. So why don't people do this? Because simplicity is disarming. Because letting go feels unnatural. Because surrendering the chase feels like giving up. But here's the paradox no one talks about. The moment you stop needing it so badly, the field can finally deliver it to you. Let me give you an example. Think about a time when something came to you effortlessly. Maybe you ran into the perfect person by accident, got an opportunity you weren't even seeking, or had a breakthrough idea when you weren't trying. What's the common thread? You weren't gripping, you weren't compelling, you were open, aligned, available. That's quantum manifestation at work. Whether you realized it or not, you see the quantum doesn't care about your words. It reads your energy. You can say, I am wealthy 1,000 times. But if your physique is still broadcasting anxiety, if your heart is still clenched in shortage, if your nervous system is still addicted to struggle, the field will mirror that chaos back to you. Not because it's cruel, but because it's precise. So, here's the radical shift. Quantum manifestation begins when you stop focusing on obtaining and start focusing on being. You become the message. You incarnate the vibration. You let your state lead, not your exertion. But that raises a critical question. What exactly does the quantum field respond to? Is it just thoughts, emotions, beliefs, actions? And how do you align these layers so they're not sending mixed messages? This is where most manifestation teachings fall apart. They focus on just one piece, usually thoughts or feelings, without addressing the deeper coherence of the framework. They tell you to think optimistic without addressing the trauma stored in your physique. They tell you to imagine without clearing the subconscious sabotage that derails you. They tell you to affirm victory while your nervous system is still bracing for defeat. But the quantum listens to the whole message, the integrated embodied message. And that's why harmony isn't a mental game. It's a full body, full system, full field shift. In the next part of this journey, we're going to break down exactly how the quantum field works, why the witness effect matters, what wave collapse really means, and how your subconscious broadcasts signals even when you're not aware of it. We're going to expose the elegant mechanics behind what seems like magic, and I'm going to show you why manifestation works best when you stop trying so hard. So, here's my open question for you, and I invite you to sit with this as we prepare for the next section. Where in your life are you trying so hard, and that you've become the very block you're trying to break through? Ready to go deeper into the quantum with me? Let's dive deeper into the mystery you've been dancing around without even knowing. The quantum field is not responding to your wishes, it's responding to your coherence. At its heart, quantum manifestation is not about thoughts alone, or emotions alone, or even actions alone. It's about how these three align into a coherent message that the field can read without distortion. Think of the quantum field like a cosmic translator. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned, the message is clear, the vibration is steady, and the field responds almost instantly. But when you're thinking one thing, feeling another, and doing something completely disconnected, the message, it gets scrambled. The field mirrors back not clarity, but chaos. This is where the witness effect comes in, a cornerstone of quantum physics. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of pure possibility, what we call a wave function. But when an observer, you focuses on a particular possibility, that wave collapses into a fixed event, reality solidifies, choices crystallize, the unseen becomes seen. But here's the catch. The observer is not just your conscious mind, the observer is also your subconscious. This means that even if you consciously want plenty, if your subconscious is wired for survival, shortage, or anxiety, the field picks up on that hidden broadcast. Your subconscious becomes the true observer, collapsing a timeline you didn't consciously choose. That's why so many people feel stuck. They're aligning their surface mind but ignoring the deep programs running beneath. And in the quantum game, the subconscious always wins. But it gets even more fascinating. Scientists like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton have shown that the heart has its own electromagnetic field far stronger than the brain's. This heart field radiates out and interacts with the larger quantum field around you. When your heart and brain are in harmony, you're sending out a powerful unified message. When they're out of sync, the message becomes weak and fragmented. This is why trying to manifest from your mind alone so often fails. Without the emotional component, the felt sense of harmony, the quantum field has no clear message to mirror back. And this is where most people miss the mark. They want to think their way into change when in truth, they must feel their way into harmony. You can't just tell the field what you desire. You have to become the vibrational match to it. That means tuning your physique, your breath, your nervous system, your beliefs, your daily choices into harmony. It's not a one-time ritual. It's a living practice. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you want to manifest love. You can write assertions, make vision boards, imagine your ideal partner. But if deep down you're carrying wounds of unworthiness, if your nervous system is braced for rejection, if your heart is armored and afraid to open, the quantum field feels that tension. It picks up the contradiction, and what you get back is more longing, more searching, more almost but not quite connections. It's not that the universe is punishing you. It's that it's perfectly mirroring your dominant frequency. So what's the shift? The shift is into harmony, into feeling whole now, into practicing the emotions of what you desire before it shows up, into embodying the state of already having it. So the field can collapse that timeline into form. You become the frequency first and the form follows. Now this might sound like a lot, but here's the simple, profound truth. The more you let go of controlling the outcome and the more you focus on regulating your inner state, the faster the quantum responds. This is why the title of this video says it's straightforward, yet no one does it. Because the human mind loves to complicate. We want 10 steps, 5 hacks, a guaranteed formula. But the quantum isn't a machine, it's a mirror, it's a dance partner. It's alive, responsive, intelligent, and it's waiting for you to meet it with a steady, embodied presence. So, here's where I want to invite you into this practice. Take a deep breath right now. Notice how your physique feels as you listen. Notice where you're holding tension. Notice the stories running in the background, and just for a moment, soften. Let the grip loosen. Let the need to fix, compel, and figure it all out. Dissolve. Feel what it's like to be okay right here, right now, without needing anything to change. This is where your power begins. Before we move on, I'd love to invite you into something that helps anchor this shift. If you're feeling a spark of recognition, if something in you is lighting up right now, hit that subscribe button. Join this space, this conversation, this community, and in the comments, drop one word, just one, that names the energy you want to embody this week. Maybe it's trust, maybe it's ease, maybe it's joy. Whatever comes to you first, that's your message. Share it, name it, let it be real, because the moment you name it, you start to align with it. Are you ready to explore why no one talks about this part of manifestation? The part that's so straightforward it almost feels like cheating. Shall we move into the next layer? So why is it that nearly no one actually does this? Why, with all the books, courses, and ceaseless YouTube videos on manifestation, do so many people stay stuck, frustrated, and disappointed? The answer is both straightforward and uncomfortable because letting go feels unnatural. The human mind is addicted to control. We've been conditioned to believe that the more we effort, the more we deserve, that struggle equals worth, that the harder we work, the more likely we are to succeed. So when we encounter a framework like quantum manifestation, where the central key is harmony, alignment, and surrender, it short-circuits our programming. We keep trying to compel outcomes, even though coercion is the very frequency that tells the field we don't trust the process. Let's break this down. Most people who fail at manifestation are caught in what I call the control trap. They are constantly monitoring their results. They imagine abundance but check their bank account every hour with anxiety. They script about love but obsess over text messages and dating apps. They declare health but scan their physique for symptoms every morning. In doing this, they send a message of mistrust to the field. They are affirming one thing consciously but broadcasting the opposite subconsciously. Why does this matter so much? Because the quantum field does not speak English or Spanish or Portuguese or any human language. It speaks the language of energy, and energy never lies. You can say all the right words, but if your nervous system is bracing for loss, if your mind is locked in loops of doubt, if your physique is flooded with cortisol, the field listens to that deeper frequency. This is why so many people are exhausted. They are doing all the things, but they are doing them from a place of hypervigilance, shortage, and absence. And so they loop. They manifest more waiting, more absence, more efforting, more searching because energetically they are not in the timeline of already having. Those stories will collapse the wave into the same old outcomes. This is why assertions without embodiment feel hollow. This is why imaginations without nervous system regulation collapse. This is why action without aligned identity leads to burnout. So what can you do? First, you must understand that quantum manifestation is not an add-on to your life. It's a recalibration of your whole framework. It's a remembering, a returning. It's about becoming the version of you that lives inside the timeline you desire before you see evidence of that timeline in your outside world. For example, if you want to manifest plenty, you practice feeling abundant now, not later, now, out when the money arrives, but now. You treat yourself with generosity, presence, and care. You let go of micromanaging the outcome, and you focus on incarnating the message of trust. If you want love, you practice loving yourself. Now, you open your heart, you soften your edges, you become the kind of partner you wish to attract. You stop seeking validation and start living as though you are already enough because you are. If you want health, you stop scanning your physique for what's wrong and you begin nurturing what's right. You shift from survival mode into resilience. You practice gratitude for the physique you have while gently guiding it toward greater vitality. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing it so badly, it arrives faster, not because the universe is testing you or playing games, but because you are no longer the resistance. So, let me ask you this. Where in your life are you still holding the steering wheel with white knuckles? Where are you still measuring, tracking, compelling, and chasing? What would happen if you loosened your grip by just 10%? Pause with that for a moment. This is not about passivity. It's about shifting from control to co-creation. And that shift, subtle, powerful, revolutionary, is where quantum manifestation actually begins to work. In the next block, we're going to talk about the straightforward but rarely practiced techniques that can help you realign your framework, regulate your state, and become the clearest message possible to the quantum field. We'll explore how to dissolve resistance without bypassing your real emotions, how to build trust with your subconscious, and how to step into the timeline you desire as though it's already yours. So here's my question for you to reflect on before we move forward. Where in your life are you gripping so tightly that you've become the very block you're trying to remove? So here we stand right at the edge of the most powerful truth in quantum manifestation. The part nearly no one talks about. The part hidden in plain sight. It's this. You don't manifest what you desire, you manifest what you are. This isn't just a pretty idea, it's a fundamental principle that shapes how the quantum field interacts with you. The field doesn't respond to your words, your vision boards, or your Pinterest perfect assertions. It responds to the message of your being, the vibrational signature you carry into every room, every thought, every interaction. And that message is built moment by moment, not in what you're doing, but in how you're being. Let me explain this with a metaphor. Imagine you're a radio. If you want to hear jazz, you don't sit there demanding jazz from the universe while staying tuned to a heavy metal station. You have to change the dial. You have to tune your frequency to match what you want to receive. Quantum manifestation works the same way. You can't pull in the timeline you desire while vibrating in the frequency of the timeline you're trying to leave behind. So, how do you change the dial? You start by becoming conscious of your current frequency, not just what you think, but how you feel. How does your physique move through the day? How do you breathe when you're stressed? What stories run on a loop in the background of your mind? Most of us are not manifesting deliberately. We're manifesting on autopilot, recycling the same states, the same reactions, the same energetic broadcasts, and the field. It faithfully mirrors those back to us. The shift begins when you interrupt the pattern, not with brute force, not with frantic effort, but with simple, embodied practices. It can be as subtle as taking a conscious breath in a moment of anxiety, as gentle as placing a hand on your heart when you're spiraling into self-doubt, as bold as asking yourself, what would the version of me who already has this do right now, and when? Then taking one small action from that place, because here's what no one tells you. The quantum doesn't need you to be perfect, it just needs you to be coherent. Coherence happens when your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction. It's when you stop saying one thing, feeling another, and doing something else entirely. It's when your whole framework hums with a single unified message, and when you reach that state, even briefly, you create a kind of gravitational pull in the field. Reality begins to bend toward you. But let's get practical. If you want to incarnate plenty, practice generosity, not just with money, but with attention, with time, with energy. Train your nervous system to feel the sensations of I have enough, even if the numbers in your bank account haven't caught up yet. If you want to incarnate love, practice vulnerability. Open your heart in small, courageous ways. Be the safe space you're longing to find in someone else. If you want to incarnate health, practice presence. Listen to your physique. Feed it, move it, rest it from a place of respect, not punishment. This is the straightforward path, and yet few walk it because it asks you to go first to become the frequency before the evidence arrives to lead with being, not needing. And this brings us to one of the most misunderstood pieces in the whole manifestation conversation, emotional regulation. People assume manifestation is about feeling good all the time. It's not. It's about feeling real all the times and learning to bring your framework back into harmony when you wobble. This means welcoming your emotions, not bypassing them. It means holding space for anxiety without letting it drive the car. It means practicing emotional fluency so you can navigate waves without drowning in them. Here's the truth. You will wobble, you will doubt, you will have days when the old timeline pulls at your heels. That's okay. The power isn't in never falling, it's in how you return. So here's my invitation to you right now. Take a breath, notice where you are. Ask yourself, what timeline am I tuned to in this moment? Is it the one of anxiety or the one of trust? Is it the one of absence or the one of plenty? Is it the one of waiting or the one of arrival? No judgment, just noticing. Because the moment you notice, you create a choice point, and choice is the gateway to harmony. In the next block, we're going to pull this all together. We'll explore how to turn these insights into a living practice, how to navigate setbacks with grace, and how to sustain the frequency that collapses your dream timeline into reality. But before we continue, I want to thank you for walking this journey so far. If you're feeling lit up, if you're feeling seen, if you're sensing that something inside you is already shifting, hit that subscribe button. Join this space, this community, this conversation, and in the comments, drop a word that captures your intention right now. Maybe it's allow, maybe it's expand, maybe it's flow. Whatever it is, that word becomes your message to the field. Here we are, the final piece of the puzzle. And I want you to really hear this. Manifestation is not a performance. It's a practice. It's not something you master once. It's something you live moment by moment, choice by choice. So many people get stuck in the mindset that manifestation is about doing more, hacking the framework, perfecting the formula. But in truth, the most powerful manifestors aren't the ones who know the most techniques. They're the ones who have learned how to hold a coherent state to regulate themselves back into harmony when life inevitably shakes them. Because here's the reality. You will face moments that test you. There will be days when anxiety creeps back in, when old patterns whisper in your ear, when the timeline you're trying to leave feels like it's pulling you back. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to go into control mode again, to push, to compel, to micromanage. But the real mastery is this. Can you stay in the frequency of trust even when the evidence hasn't arrived yet? Can you hold the vibration of it's already done while the world still looks the same? Can you become so anchored in the new timeline that the old one no longer seduces you? This is where incarnation becomes non-negotiable. So let's make this practical. Every morning before you check your phone, take a few breaths and ask yourself, what frequency am I tuning into today? Is it shortage or plenty, anxiety or trust, control or flow? Throughout the day, use your physique as your compass. Your physique will tell you when you've slipped out of harmony. You'll feel the tension, the tightness, the contraction. And in that moment, you don't need to shame yourself or spiral. You just need to notice, breathe, and recalibrate. Ask, what would the version of me living in my desired timeline choose right now? Then take one small action from that place, and at night before you drift to sleep, replay the day not with judgment but with curiosity. Where did you wobble? Where did you align? Where did you glimpse your own power? Gratitude amplifies harmony. Acknowledge even the smallest wins. Now, here's something most people miss. Community matters. We are social, energetic beings. We co-regulate with the people around us. When you surround yourself with others who are practicing harmony, who are playing in the quantum field, who are committed to incarnation, your framework, and trains to that vibration, this is why it's so important to curate your environment, not just physically, but energetically. Find the voices, the spaces, the communities that remind you of who you are becoming. Fill your field with reminders of your chosen timeline. Let your outside world become an ally to your inner practice. And remember this, there's no finish line. The point isn't to arrive and then stop. The point is to live inside a continuous unfolding where you become the living edge of your own evolution, where you don't just manifest things, but you become someone who lives as a creator, a co-creator, a conscious participant in shaping reality. Because here's the most beautiful part. The quantum field is not separate from you. It's not something you manipulate from a distance. It's something you're entangled with. You are the field. You are the wave. You are the witness and the observed. So when you tune your frequency, you're not just asking life to meet you. You're becoming the version of life you've been seeking. I want to leave you with this invitation. In the comments, drop one word that captures the energy you're choosing to carry forward after this video. Maybe it's alignment. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's power. Maybe it's something uniquely yours. Let that word be a small but profound declaration, a quantum seed you plant, not just in this space, but in yourself. And if this video has stirred something inside you, if you felt a shift, a remembering, a spark, I warmly invite you to subscribe. This isn't just a channel, it's a living space, a gathering point for those ready to step into their own creative power. When you hit subscribe, you're not just joining a list down, you're joining a movement of minds and hearts reshaping what's possible. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Thank you for your presence, your attention, your energy. You are not just a viewer, you are a participant in this unfolding. Keep tuning, keep aligning, keep playing in the field.